All right. Good morning, everyone. Sorry to interrupt the lively conversation going on. Hope everyone is enjoying breakfast. Congratulations for making it to breakfast on day 3 of the conference. Woo! My name is Michael Feeder. I'm with AAAS, the organizing group for the conference. We are thrilled to have you here. It's been great to see so many of you and not just point you to this room or that room, but to actually have the opportunity to speak with you, to hear what you're passionate about, to get a sense of what you're hungry for besides eggs, and to be able to hopefully provide some guidance as well. You know, it's these types of opportunities that are really unique you'll find in your college, in your educational career. I know for myself, having opportunities to engage in research early on and to be exposed to faculty, to peers, and to ideas that I'd never been exposed to before is what opened up my mind and opened up doors to lead me into grad school, to lead me to opportunities at amazing organizations like AAAS or the National Academies that have allowed me to redefine what science education is in K-12 and higher ed, and to influence and learn from young minds. And when we have that sign outside that says the future of STEM is bright, we really mean that. It's not just a fun slogan, and we've been inspired by your passion, by your interests, and by your energy. So we really do thank you for showing up ready to participate. It's been fantastic. Before we get started today, I just want to do a little check of the energy in the room today. So I'm going to ask just a few quick questions. Who here loves a free breakfast? All right. Who here has made at least 3 new connections? Who here would like me to stop talking? Oh, wow. All right. That's not bad. I figured I would be the loudest one. Thank you. That's Travis, everyone. But no, it's my pleasure to be able to introduce our plenary speaker this morning, Melissa Tsuji. She'll be talking to us about really practical skill building and career building advice. She is the Director of Career Services at Siena Heights University, which is a private Catholic university here in the great state of Michigan. Melissa has a rich background in higher education and in the business world. She was an adjunct instructor at Siena Heights for 26 years and a member of the full staff for over 24 years. Melissa teaches courses in internship preparation, in career exploration, in STEM careers, in communication, and more. Her ability to build relationships with students, faculty, and staff is evidenced through her leadership as advisor to the student organizations. She's also chair of the conduct board, a member of various search committees, and the chair of the Staff Advisory Council. She currently serves as chair of the Greater Lenawee, thank you for the help, Chamber of Commerce and Board of Directors. One of her favorite parts of her work with her students is using her own professional network to help connect them with their next steps. In her spare time, Melissa also teaches yoga. I don't know about you, but after walking around the conference, sitting in these chairs, talking to folks, being stressed out a little bit, I could use a few sessions of yoga right now. So we are really thrilled to have Melissa with us, and she'll be talking to us today about telling your own story. And as you listen to her talk, please remember we will have Q&A afterwards. You can come to the mic near the end of the talk that are positioned throughout the room. And you can also share your questions within the app if you're uncomfortable or not ready to come up to the mic. And so with that, I want to thank Melissa for being our plenary speaker and bring her up to the podium.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to first say thank you to the AAAS team for hosting this incredible conference for all of us. Let's give them a round of applause. So I want to thank them for inviting me to speak this morning. It's my great privilege to be with you all. And as I look across this space, I see futures filled with bright curiosity, intense passion, and life-changing opportunities. The agenda this morning is a conversation that I've planned for us to share that includes thinking about what it means to be a STEM scholar and how you relate your skills and abilities to others. I've got some tips and tricks to build your network, and we'll put it all together with telling your STEM story. So we'll begin by talking about what does it really mean to be a STEM scholar. Ask yourself, what does being a STEM scholar mean to me? Why did you choose STEM as your field of study, as your profession? How is STEM part of your story? Think for a minute how this has impacted your journey as a college scholar. The National Science Foundation defines S-STEM as scholarships in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, a program run by the NSF. Their goal is to support academically talented students from low-income backgrounds who are pursuing STEM degrees. You are among an elite group of scholars and emerging professionals, and this is something to celebrate. Give yourselves a round of applause. So let's dig a little deeper. Ask yourself, who am I as an S-STEM scholar? How is my story different from others? Think about that for a minute. We all have a story. Consider why you chose STEM as your major. Or as I like to ask my scholars, did STEM choose you? And think for a minute about where you can tell your story. I'd like to begin this morning by talking about knowing your why. A big piece of our storytelling is knowing our why. So your why is your life stories. It's being able to connect the dots that are part of your story. It's being creative. It's sharing your energy and your passions. And it's sharing your achievements. Your why is also about being curious. It's your core values. You need to believe your why, and you need to express your why. Your why is the process of discovering your life purpose, what drives you, and what motivates you. Your why can help you make your own decisions. It will help you be resilient and overcome challenges. Your why is your core values, your beliefs, and your desires. And these define who you are and what you wish to achieve. Your why makes you come alive and ignites a fire in your soul. Your why will guide you towards your goals and your life's missions. So ask yourself, kind of seems like I have a lot of questions for you all this morning. Ask yourself, what truly makes you happy? What are your goals? What is your absolute dream with no limitation? I often ask my scholars, if you could do anything, be anything, no limit, what would that look like? And then ask yourself, what does my impact look like? Knowing your why means figuring out why you do what you do. And your why is tied to your actions and decisions of today, and wow, it shapes your future. So I'm going to ask you again, what truly makes you happy? Because friends, this is the core of your why. Your why is your story and no one else's. At the end of your story, consider what your impact will look like. So let's talk about some ways that you can own your why. And that begins with defining what you want today. For me, this conference is a great place to either reconnect with your why or to begin finding that why. Think about your goals. Think about where you want to be in 6 months. Picture that in your mind. Visualize that goal. And then tell others about it. Put your feelings to your pictures. Owning your why integrates into your subconscious. And the more you visualize and the more you share your why, the more your why will work for you. I am a true believer in owning your why. You have the power to write your story. So set your goals and envision them happening. When you have a vision created, believe in that image. And don't forget to tell others about your why. So let's talk for a minute about making that impact. We do that by using strong listening skills, by developing a deep, laser-like focus, being creative problem solvers. If you were in my sessions yesterday, you know that we talked about critical thinking and problem-solving skills as being the #1 skill employers seek today. Making an impact is about being a thoughtful decision maker and doing so with empathy and understanding. And wow, we do that all with a calm and cool under pressure mentality. Living your why means making an impact. And you are growing the skills and developing those traits right now, in this very moment, as STEM scholars. Many of you are developing your leadership skills, and most of you are now very powerful leaders. Powerful leaders are reflective and thoughtful. You're deep thinkers. You're focused and dedicated, calm and composed. You're respectful of time, and wow, you are resilient and persistent. And it is no secret that we see repeating traits between making an impact and being a strong leader. Things like deep thinking and creative problem solving, calmness and being thoughtful are just a few. So we're going to transition just a little bit, and we're going to talk about power skills. These are the traits that help us make an impact, and these are the power skills that employers are seeking. Our power skills are the traits that are innate. They are deep within our beings, and we carry them with us in all that we do. These are among the most important skills that we possess, and yet they're often the hardest skills to display, particularly in a resume or a CV. And we show others these skills by fine-tuning them and showing others how we model the traits. And I'm fairly confident there are some repeating themes here, because they are things like solving problems, creativity, curiosity, critical thinking and problem solving, logical and mathematical skills, engineering and design skills, adaptability, cross-discipline collaboration, and an interest in emerging technologies. Qualities employers value, and this comes from the Society of Human Resource Managers. They've identified these skills as the top ones employers seek. So think about them as I'm reading them. Consider how you show an employer your proficiency with these skills. Reliability, problem solving, teamwork, adaptability, integrity, attentiveness, a love for upskilling, efficiency, humility, and openness. Who has a love for upskilling? Learning more, being a lifelong learner. So being a truly authentic leader, we act with integrity. We know our why. We show our vulnerability. We hold ourselves accountable, and we lead from our heart. Every one of you is a leader in some way. And we know that authentic leaders do these things every day. I want to talk a little bit about your path to excellence. So as you're considering your path, considering your why, maybe writing your story, here's a little advice. Find your community. Look around this room. We are a community right here, right now, in this ballroom. Share your ideas confidently. Find a mentor or become one. We've heard a lot this weekend about mentoring. So I encourage you to find a mentor. And a mentor is someone who has a mutual interest in helping you on your path. And they should provide guidance to you along the way. Know that your mentor might be someone in an unrelated discipline, but it is someone that you build a connection with. I think it's equally important for you to be mentors. Find a mentee. Take back the knowledge that you've learned today and this weekend and share that with your peers. Tell your fellow scholars some of the great things you've experienced and learned. Being a mentor to someone is an outstanding growth opportunity. And I challenge you to share your wisdom with others. Be open to feedback, even that uncomfortable feedback that doesn't necessarily make you feel good or maybe reflects on your work a little bit. Feedback is necessary for growth. Engage in the workplace, engage in your classrooms, engage on your campus, and be a lifelong learner. Think critically. Critical thinking, as I said, is the #1 skill employers are seeking today. This means you can take apart a problem and provide solutions in ways that others may not. It means doing deep thinking and asking creatively, using creativity rather, to provide responses. Keep asking the questions. Even when others don't, never be afraid to ask the questions. When we think critically, we keep an open mind. We use problem-solving skills. We reflect on thinking and the thought process. Sometimes we practice skepticism. And we continually seek feedback. Practice high-level communication. As Michael said, one of the many things that I've done in my career is teach communications. I'm going to tell you just a little tiny secret, but please do not tell anyone else. I am not a STEM person. I am an art historian and a communications person. My work in STEM is because of transferable skills. You all have transferable skills. And one of the greatest ones that you can use is your high-level communication skills. So practice being clear and accurate. Be active listeners. Master your nonverbal communication skills. Use open-ended questions. Communicate mindfully. Clarify your assumptions and carry gratitude in your heart. In regards to your nonverbal communication, we form an opinion of someone in 30 seconds. So the first time we meet someone, it's human nature to form an opinion, an impression in 30 seconds. 60% of what we remember in that 30-second interaction is based on nonverbal communication. We have to be high-level communicators. So practice your active listening. Focus on a clear and accurate delivery of your message. This means using higher-level language and knowing when to speak and when to listen. Being mindful, showing grace and gratitude, and recognizing others' nonverbal communication cues are also high-level communicator traits. I invite you to be a great colleague. I tell my students that the classroom is their workplace, and their full-time job is to be a scholar. So be respectful and courteous to everyone. Listen without judgment. Treat everyone fairly. Speak calmly and clearly. Say please and thank you. Respect others' workplaces. Treat others as you wish to be treated. These are really kind of the golden rules here. Practice listening versus hearing. And as appropriate, include everyone in discussions and decisions. And if you do these things, you will not only be a great student, you will be a great worker and leader. So let's talk about using your brand and your story. Your personal brand identity should be everywhere. It should be consistently displayed in your resume and your CV, on social media sites like LinkedIn, in your professional pitch, in the interviews that you have, and in the places you work. Your brand should be part of your story, and it should be everywhere. Your brand is what you want others to remember about you when you are not in the room. And knowing your why and sharing your story can help you with brand awareness. Your network is a huge piece of your story. A network is a web or a circuit of various connections. Your network grew exponentially this weekend, and it is full of connections ready to help you build relationships. As you look around this room, acknowledge your network. I challenge you to keep the relationships going into the future. Join the AAAS Scholar Group on LinkedIn. Connect with speakers and scholars via LinkedIn. Because your network is your peers, it is your faculty and staff, it's work supervisors, the AAAS community, professional organizations, it's recruiting opportunities that you have, community events, and your social media connections. Networking is the work we do to keep the relationships going. It requires intentional follow-up, engaging with purpose, and keeping the focus on the connection versus yourself. In communications, we practice the you attitude. And this is keeping in mind the support we can provide to our connections. And that support is all about that other person or that other organization. It's the how you can help them, and it's critical. So just some of the AAAS S-STEM Scholar resources include your network of peers. There's wonderful webinars that occur, conferences like this, the LinkedIn resources, and wow, a whole field of mentors for you. I have some advice for new STEM professionals. And as I share this advice with you, think about where your story takes you and how this weekend has brought you closer to being a STEM professional. So know your why. Keep showing up, even when it is hard and it's messy and you don't want to do it. Keep showing up. Step outside your box. Be open to the unknown. Be open to the uncomfortable. Find a mentor. Know that you can do hard things and that it's okay to ask for help along the way. Stay curious. Never stop learning and asking questions. Practice resilience. Grow and evolve into the best you that you can be. Step confidently into what comes next and embrace that uncomfortableness of the unknown. Remember your why and turn the next page of your story. So let's talk just a little bit about telling your STEM scholar story. We're going to put all of this together, and I remind you that stories are important because they command attention. They create shared feelings and connect people through experiences. Stories are bridges. They help connect us to others we encounter, and everyone has a story unique to them and their experiences. So show your audience how you know your why, how you show up, how you step out of your comfort zone, and how you do hard things. Show your audience how you stay curious, how you are persistent, and that you are always in a learning mode. Don't be afraid to flex your resilient muscle. Your story is a tapestry of all these points woven together by you. You have the power to tell your narrative. You are the expert of you. So I'm going to close my remarks this morning by sharing my story. It has been my great privilege to be with you, and as we come to our time together, here is my story. So these are significant photos for the points in my story. I was lucky to be gifted with incredible parents who valued education, raised my brother and me in a kind and loving home, and showed us how to lead and care for others. I grew up in a magical place on a small farm, in a family that knew how to work hard and always be the difference for someone else. My undergraduate experience was formed by remarkable mentors in the Adrian Dominican sisters I encountered on campus at Siena Heights College. After graduate school, I returned to Siena Heights as a professional, and now something like 28 years later, I still strive to give my students the same sense of empowerment and promise that I experienced. Never once have I ever believed that I couldn't do anything or be anything that I wanted to be. Just as I challenge my scholars, I challenge you to be part of something bigger than yourself. Find your why. Tragic experiences have shown me that vulnerability is okay. My story is one of resilience and persistence. As an almost 10-year survivor of breast cancer, I look back at the year I spent undergoing devastating chemo, having surgery, and getting radiation very differently. My mom was with me every step of the journey, and the following year she passed away. Today, I look at my diagnosis as a blessing. If I hadn't been diagnosed and in treatment, we wouldn't have had all those precious days together. And if you remember nothing else that I've shared with you this morning, please remember that there is always a silver lining. A cancer diagnosis became my silver lining. Never stop learning. I took a leap of faith and became a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. This was a life-changing experience for me and how I live my life. If you know me, you know my happy place is on my mat, being present for myself and my yoga students. Warrior On Yoga with Melissa is my yoga business. And it comes from my mantra during chemo, which was Warrior On, because that's what a strong and fierce individual does. We warrior on. Find your joy. My joy found me in the biology department at Siena Heights University. It was working together with our students that brought Dr. Tsuji, it brought us together personally. I am grateful for our beautiful family and how blessed we are to continue making an impact and changing lives together. My heart is so full for so many reasons. Thank you to AAAS for inviting me to speak today, and to the scholars. Find the silver lining. Remember your why. Never stop learning. Do good work every day and keep telling your story. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. You can stay at the podium. I'll scoot around. So we do have time for questions. If folks have questions, please do use the microphones that are set up throughout the room. You can also send your questions via the app. And so while people are formulating those questions and coming up to the mic, I did see one question come through the app, so I'll take time to share that right now. So for our students that are still trying to narrow down, discover where they want their impact to be, how can they start, identifying where they can have an impact, how they can be really express their passions?
Sure, that's an awesome question. I would recommend doing some experiential learning, getting an internship or a practicum, a co-op. Maybe it's doing a job shadow. I like to have my students do informational interviews with professionals in a field. And here's a little secret. Most professionals are really eager to share their story and to talk about what it is that they do. And they give great practical advice.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we're going to start with over here in the front, and then we'll go to the back of the room.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. My question for you guys is, how do you sort of find the balance between perhaps high-paying or high-interest opportunities and your own morals or your own like ethical standards when it comes to career opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. You always have to listen to that voice, that inner gut instinct, if you will. And if it's a job, a career that you think you want to try, give it a try. The money will follow, but we work for a really long time. So you're all the ones that have to go out and do the work. So you want to make sure that you start out in a position that is comfortable. And you want to build skill. And I promise you all that the job that you land in right out of undergrad or graduate school is not your defining moment. But you're building skill to advance to that defining moment. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. At the back of the room.
Hello, my name is Shanawa Labisi. I'm coming in from Naugatuck Valley Community College. I wanted to ask really quickly, you mentioned a bunch of skills earlier on. So I wanted to ask, how would we practice like deep thinking and critical thinking?
Ooh, that's a great question. We do it in the classroom, right? But you can also do that in your own research and in internships and even in your own self-development through reading and writing. You're going to continue to grow those areas.
All right, thank you so much.
And I see another question coming in through as well. So I wanted to ask, for our students who are interested in kind of what the career service offices have on their campus and what resources they have available, how do they engage with career services? What are those resources?
Yeah, that's great. Your career services office, whatever it is called on your campus, is a really terrific place to get connected. Every campus runs a little bit differently, so maybe you use a platform like Handshake. If you're not on Handshake and your school has Handshake, I would advise you to activate your account and then create your profile, because that's probably where your college or university's job board is located, for one thing. But I would also make an appointment with the career professional that is either in your major or the career office in general, depending on how it's set up. Make an appointment. We're a lot more friendly if you have an appointment. And go in and talk to them. Talk to your faculty, because those are your resources. In a career services office, they might help you write your resume, give you some job searching tips. They might be the point person for your experiential learning. And if not, they will direct you to the resource that you need.
Thank you. And I see another question right here up front.
Hello, Melissa. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful speech. My name is Ryan, and I have a question about finding your why. Me personally, I have always viewed my why as the proverbial spiral staircase. Each time you find it, there's another step to take. It's, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. So my question is, how do you know you personally, how did you find your why, and how did you know that was your why, and did it change?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Yes, your why changes. Your story changes. As we grow and evolve, our stories grow, right? So we tend to talk more about what's happening now because of its relevancy than what happened 10 years ago. I think that it is good to maybe journal a little bit or think about, write a framework for your why. And it's okay if your why is a little bit forward thinking. Did I answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it's one of those questions that doesn't have a definitive answer, but I like the open thought about it.
Yeah, it definitely is open thought, and I would recommend that you read Simon Sinek's Know Your Why.
Thank you so much.
That's great. And while other people contemplate questions as well, I'll take the moderator prerogative to ask a little bit. I know in your talk, you showed a little bit about expressing your why through different modalities, LinkedIn, resume. Are there particular differences in how your why shows up, for example, in a LinkedIn versus a resume or other modalities?
Yeah, I think your why is probably better versed to a LinkedIn versus a resume, but your why can also be interview information. Not necessarily telling your whole story in an interview, but it can help you answer that question. So tell me a little bit about you, right? Because they all want to know. So using that why, and maybe you use bits and pieces of your why, depending on the situation.
So as we wait as well, so on campus, I'm curious, what have been those experiences with students that you found like meaningful and have potentially also changed your story?
Wow. Well, I will tell you that my students are my world. And my students have saved my life. When I was sick, I was by myself, and it was the students who got me through. So it's sometimes those personal moments. I mean, cancer, let's face it, I was bald. It's kind of hard to hide that. So, you know, I found very quickly that students that I didn't even know were coming to my office, not because they needed career services help, but they wanted to support me. So those are the first things that come to mind. As Michael mentioned in my introduction, I love using my network. I have a very large professional network, and I readily know someone or know someone who knows someone that I can connect a student to for a job shadow, informational interview, internship opportunity. So those are the really rich moments for me.
Fantastic. And I see one more question up and back, and then we'll come to the front.
Hello, thank you so much for your talk today. Very insightful information. My name is Zariah from Webster University. Do you have any advice for those students who are interested in becoming a mentor but never had any experience? Where should you start? Who do you talk to? What are like the first steps for that process?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I would say go back to your career services office, and sometimes mentoring relationships just organically occur, right? You know, I don't jump out of bed every morning and say, wow, I'm going to go out and mentor today. Sometimes it just happens. So maybe it's a student in one of your classes, maybe it's a younger, less experienced student, or it could be a student that is more experienced. But when you find that common ground, I'm fairly confident that a lot of you are going to get questions about your experience of this weekend from other students. So letting that relationship happen is really kind of the first step in mentoring.
Thank you.
And up here in front, please.
In this country, yoga is more popular among women than guys. What is your message to the guys in the audience about the practical benefits of yoga?
Well, I will just say that I have members of the men's golf team that are regulars in my yoga class on campus. Everyone is able to do yoga. Take a risk. jump on a mat and try it out.
Thank you.
Thanks. And then up front here.
Hello. Thank you so much for your talk. My name is Carmen Lopez. I'm coming from Mount Mary University. My question is, apart from like something more obvious, like of course like being rude or unprofessional, are there any like actions or things we could say that would hinder our relationships in our network?
Wow, that's a tough question. I think it's about being open. I think oversharing sometimes occurs, and I mentioned that at one point in the talk. Finding that balance between listening and speaking, and listening fully, particularly in an interview, so that you get the whole gist of the question. Showing up early, being polite, being presentable, knowing the organization where you're interviewing, knowing what they do, if they have multi-locations. But I think the biggest piece of advice is to know how you will benefit that organization. What are you going to do for them?
Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we're going to come to the middle in the back and then over to the right.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm also a yoga teacher. And oftentimes I find it really difficult to take my own advice that I would give students. As a scientist, I'm naturally curious. I also have a very kind of extroverted, kind of golden retriever-like personality. And so even when I'm in these like research opportunities, whether it's like a summer research opportunity or I've kind of found something, I'm finding it very difficult to slow down and actually be present in those opportunities instead of preparing for the next application, the next program, the next opportunity after that.
So, yoga teacher to yoga teacher, I would tell you to breathe and bring your mind to that breath, and the mind will slow down. So don't let yourself get into the weeds, and look at the immediacy. Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think so. If there are also some kind of like STEM related things, I think it's really easy to, when we're working on research papers at the same time as projects and things like that, it is hard to take those moments to breathe and do those things. But even throughout that, it's like, once we get there, it's like I feel like I'm at the end already because it goes so quickly.
It goes so
Yeah.
fast.
Thank you for that question. Really appreciate it. And we're going to come to the back here on the right.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm a pre-med student, and I was just wondering, you mentioned interviews would ask you what your why is for your career, and if you had any advice on like what that kind of should be, or like what employers are looking for that answer to be. Not anything specific, but like a general path.
Okay, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I was wondering like if career, like people that are interviewing you for your career, if they're looking for anything specific to be like why you want to do your job.
So are you talking about for you in pre-med?
Yeah.
Okay. So in medicine, it's a huge interview process to get admitted into medical school. So knowing why you want a career in medicine and being able to say that, but it's also how you're going to benefit that medical program. And I would throw this advice out to anyone planning graduate or professional school. As you are applying, research the faculty. Know the research that they're doing, know what their content area is, know what their topics are, and make connections with them. Email them, connect with them on LinkedIn, don't stalk them, but try to build a little bit of a bridge there, because sometimes that is the tipping point, because a faculty will say, hey, Michael is interested in what I do, and I've got a spot coming up in my research lab. I really want to meet him. Grad school and professional schools are very competitive. So knowing what your competitive edge is and what you can offer that program. And I would encourage you to go to your career services office.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. So we'll take our final 3 questions. We'll go in the front here, and then the back, in the middle, and then one on the left.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Hello, thank you so much. My name is Kat. I just really was struck by this thought that most of the people who are in this room are here because we're already good at telling our why, because most of us are here on scholarship, because most of us are here because we talked about our lack of access to resources or our marginalization or our life story. And so my question is, as we move forward, as we are asked to continually articulate ourselves, how do we avoid the burnout of being constantly having to articulate and express our why across platforms, I know that I've for example, applied to 40 to 50 scholarships a year. I'm trying to keep up with my LinkedIn and my other platforms, and sometimes I get frustrated because I just want to be doing the work and I just want to be existing, and I want to stop hustling, basically. I don't want to have to hustle. I get burnt out on it. And I think that that's something that's really specific to students who are in a room like this, where we're constantly saying, like, look at me, like I'm this incredible marginalized person. And that can be really, really, it can drain away from the actual work that we're here to do. And so my question to you is like, have you seen other students experience that? What have you told them? How have they gotten through those kinds of challenges?
Sure, that's a great question. And I think it's the consistency of your brand. So once you have your why, your story, you're using that on LinkedIn. You're using it in your conversations. We're a highly competitive society, so we're always going to be telling our why, our story, but that's also going to be changing. And to do the deep work, we have to bring that edge, if that makes sense.
Thank you. And so back here in the middle.
Hi, my name is Shayla. I'm from Utah Tech University. I just know that we've been talking a lot about networking, and as someone who does feel like they're putting themselves out there for networking, I find that I'm not really making meaningful connections. So how would you recommend like making meaningful connections with others?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I mean, this is a group of like-minded individuals, right? We're all here because of AAAS and S-STEM. So connecting with other scholars that are in your discipline or even outside your discipline. We have all the PIs here this weekend, so there's an opportunity to talk to professionals not from your school. But then I'm not familiar with your campus, but are there organizations on your campus where you can meet other students or meet other faculty outside your discipline? Because I do believe that it is important to have a diverse, robust network of a variety of disciplines. So sometimes it means thinking outside your box a little bit, going to an event in the community. Michael mentioned that I'm involved with the Chamber of Commerce in our area, and we do all kinds of networking opportunities, and we love it when students show up. So, I'm happy if anybody in the room wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, that's awesome. Tell me that you met me here. And if you have specifics, my email is on the screen. email me. Again, tell me that I met you here, and I can answer that in a little bit more deep response.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That's great advice. And so for our final question, we're going to come back here to the left.
My name is Michael Mode. Thank you for highlighting the importance of meditation and yoga, because that was one of the main cures for me getting out of depression, so I appreciate that. My question is I'm a peer mentor, and I mentor a lot of neurodivergent students. And I also am in computer science and mathematics, so I also have a lot of neurodivergent professors. And I'm normally the conduit to help them communicate, because there's a lot of communication breakdown. What can I do to help develop those soft skills for them? Because I won't always be there for them. And thank you.
Yeah, the power skills, good listening, active listening. Sometimes maybe it's reframing a question. Are you talking skills for students or skills for faculty? Or skills for both?
It could be skills for both, but because of the room, specifically for students, and just in terms of engaging others, if you could give any real insight into that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's being able to ask good questions. I'm fairly confident that most of the faculty have office hours posted. No show of hands, scholars. But you know who you are if you don't go to a faculty's office hours. Here's a big secret. Faculty like it when you just stop by during open office hours. That's a great way to build a relationship. It can be a mentoring relationship, but it's also a way to get to know those faculty members a little more personally. Especially if you have a research area that aligns with them. And that will naturally improve the communication.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much. Please, one more round of applause for Melissa. It's been fantastic.